Hello and welcome. Last time I did an unboxing and initial impressions of the Aeropress Go. Today I'm going to tell you about my traveling experiences with this brewer and what I really think. Like I said, I did an unboxing and some kind of initial impressions of this version of the Aeropress. So Aeropress Go, it's Aeropress's new product, a smaller, kind of more compact, sort of more travel-friendly version of the Aeropress, which is already really popular amongst travelers as a travel brewer. In addition to the Aeropress, you get, well, here's the Aeropress, you get a cup that comes with it, some more compact tools, holder for the filters, and this kind of cap thing. I took this on a trip and actually brewed with it on the train as I was traveling by train, and then also brewed with it a few times during the trip just to get different experiences with it while traveling, you know, kind of living out of a backpack, that kind of experience. I want to tell you all my thoughts about it, but first I want to flip to a video I recorded while on the train brewing with it so you can kind of see it in action. Let's take a look.
Okay, so we're on the train and I'm gonna make an Aeropress, and I'm just gonna run through it and might say a few things while I'm doing it. Might just record afterwards. So here we go. I've already ground the coffee, doing about 22 grams, and really I'm just gonna brew it straight up. Put this in, put the water in, brew it down, and then whatever water I have left, I'm gonna dilute the brew because it's gonna make a concentrate. Alright, this is the tricky part. Now, so one little thing, you could try pouring from this, but I think that's pretty dangerous. So I'm just gonna straight up pour like this. That in there to stop it. Now I'm actually letting it sit and brew for a minute because it looks like the grind was a little coarse. All right, so just a quick follow-up. The brew did not come out as I was hoping it would, and I attribute that to, well, first off, I think the grind was a little too coarse, so there's that. But secondly, the thing I don't really have any control over here is the water. As I'm on the train, I have to use the water that they have in their water heaters. And so I have no idea what the quality of that water is. This coffee is having like an odd grassy aroma to it, which I don't think it should be having even at the coarseness that I brewed this at. Like, it feels like the extraction was good enough. So, well, I think it would be better, finer. I think a lot of what's not working out for me in this situation is the quality of the water. So I can't do anything about that. So, as to the Aeropress Go itself, I have to say, it's really nice having the cup and just being able to pop that open and brew right into this thing. So, there's something to be said for that. I'll have more thoughts on this.
All right, so now you've kind of seen it in action. Let me tell you some of my thoughts. So first of all, just as, again, a comparison, we did this in the other video. Here's the original Aeropress. Here's the Aeropress Go. So while they do kind of end up taking the same amount of space in the in the backpack, and before what I would travel with is this and this grinder and this scale, and now it's this, the Aeropress Go, the grinder and the scale. The addition of the cup, honestly, the addition of the cup and this like silicone cap thing is really nice. It is a nicer travel experience. If you're traveling a lot with the Aeropress, you really like having this as a brewer wherever you are. You're going to enjoy this experience more than this experience, I think. It's the same brewer. You produce the same coffee, but you get these kind of added convenience of having a cup with you, of having a place to put all the things while you're brewing. I think you saw this, and I maybe even commented on it in the train video, but I'm just going to take this apart here. You know, as we're brewing like this, once we get to the bottom and press, you can stick the Aeropress in here. You can also put, like the stir stick can put in there temporarily, and then what I'll often do is just plop it in the top once I'm done brewing. And then this can sit wherever on the counter, not making a mess anywhere. It's great. And then you just enjoy and drink your coffee in this mug. Obviously, when you have just the Aeropress, you've got to find some way to deal with kind of the potential mess as you're brewing. Usually what I would do is stand it like this after brewing, and that usually kept things clear, but it's still nice having a place to put things. And then of course I would have to find something to press into, a mug or something like that. If I just had this Aeropress, I would not be able to make coffee on the train unless I also brought a mug along with me, which I could do. I could pack a mug in the bag. That's just another thing to bring. The only thing you really give up, honestly, going with this Aeropress is slightly less capacity. It's got the same kind of numbered system, but it only goes up to 3, whereas the original Aeropress goes up to 4. So if you're creating the original recipe where you're doing, if you're going to 1, you're doing 1 scoop and water up to 1, and then creating a concentrate, or 2 scoops and 2, 3 scoops, 3, etc. If you're used to doing 4 scoops and 4 and diluting, and that's what you want, you're just going to have to get used to doing less. But doing 3 scoops and brewing up to 3, creating a concentrate, and then basically filling the cup up the rest of the way with water makes a really nice cup of coffee. Once you dial in your grind, either if you're doing a hand grinder, once you dial that in, or pre-grind your coffee, whatever your choice. Some things to be picky about. Let's just get real. So let's see here. One thing I have noticed is that this guy Maybe, oh wow, that's actually easier to pull off than the other one. Interesting to note. I noticed that this was trapping moisture, but this is actually much easier to remove than the other one. So maybe that's something to do when you're cleaning it, is actually take this apart. Just noticing that now. Oh yeah, it goes back on really easily. Okay, so that's kind of interesting. The other thing, and I think I commented on this in the original, is that this is a nice like compact stir stick, but you have these like crevices and stuff, which I think it's really easy to get coffee stuck in there, and if you do, it's going to be hard to clean it out, I think. So that's just something to consider. Maybe it's not an issue. Maybe that's just the way it is, but there you go. I've seen some people comment on how this stir stick is subpar compared to the other one, but it's a stick. You stir with it. It's nothing fancy. You could use a spoon. Some people use chopsticks. I have like a glass stir stick that's differently shaped that works. The point is to agitate your grounds when you're using the stir stick. And one last thing, which I have noticed, and pardon me as I put this back together. So we're gonna put this away like it's packed. Let's do this. One thing I found when putting these guys back in the thing, let's see here. I'm trying to get these to not stick out, but sometimes it's a little tricky. Maybe that wants to go in that way. Oh, that's a little better. So I find I have to do it this way. Otherwise, the things can make this stick up a little too much. As you can see, it's not like perfectly in there. I think even with these guys not sitting in that spot, it's not like it's a perfect tight fit. There's this gap, and that's just the way it's designed. Let's put these back in here. All right, and then of course the filter holder just kind of sits nice on top, and then we add this kind of cap. And this does not seal. It just like fits over the thing. And here's the thing I noticed, and I was kind of trying to make this happen at the beginning here, but this feels like it is attached pretty well. What I had happen a couple of times is I'd reach into the bag, grab the Aeropress like this, and then this would happen. And I had to exaggerate there a little bit because it's seated on here. So I'm not sure why sometimes this is just so loose that this comes apart really easily. Maybe it has to do with heat. Maybe when this heats up, this just gets a lot more pliable, and so then it comes apart a lot easier. I don't know. I think. Ooh, it's back in there. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what that's about. Like this kind of rubber, silicone lid, whatever, does kind of barely just flip over the lip of the cup and does hold on to it. But obviously, we're talking about a pliable thing here. This is not a sealed container. I didn't have any problems with leakages. I mentioned that concern on the sort of unboxing first opinions video. I did not have any problems with that, but I did wait for the Aeropress to dry as much as I could before repackaging it and putting it back in the container. So there is that to be noted. I don't know. I feel like I want this to be a thing that seals completely, but you know, it's as I said, compared to the original Aeropress, this is a nicer travel experience. It just is. Everything is kind of all encompassed. Basically, instead of just the Aeropress, you get the Aeropress, a cup, a thing to place things on as you're brewing, the tools, the scoop and the stir, and a holder for your filters, all in one enclosed container. That's pretty nice. So I think that's all I have to say about the Aeropress Go. One thing I do want to note, and this isn't like a criticism on the Go or anything, or really any travel brewer, but I could not make good coffee with this on the train, and I wouldn't have been able to make good coffee with any brewer on the train, and that's because of the quality of the water. But what I realized later on that I could have done, and actually maybe this is a plus of this brewer, is I could have cold pressed with this. I might do a future video cold pressing with the Aeropress just to try that out. It's not something I'm familiar with, but I have learned that that's possible. But I could have used bottled water and cold pressed coffee with this and probably made a much better coffee while on the train, or like in any other situation where I can't get quality water, or possibly in situations where I can't get heated water. I don't know, I could see waiting in an airport and really wanting a good cup of coffee. What are you going to do? Well, you could cold press something. There's also that whole thing about making coffee on a plane. I would rather use bottled water than the hot water that they can provide on the plane. Honestly, I'm still never going to brew coffee on a plane. That just sounds crazy making to me, but some people are into it. Anyway, so that's the Aeropress Go. As versatile as the original Aeropress, but, well, more compact, more tools, same space. So that's pretty nice. If you have any questions about the Aeropress Go or the Aeropress, please comment below. Always love to chat coffee. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.